does this translate into seats? Let's just put that on the screen right now. This is for every percent of vote that the Congress gains. So for example, if the Congress were to gain 1% vote share, their seat share goes up from 80 to 83. If the Congress were to gain 2% vote share, their seat share could go up to 92. If the Congress were to gain 3% vote share, then the seat share could go up to 107. Remember, 113 is kind of what you need, right? That's the halfway mark in an assembly of 224. If the Congress were to gain 4% vote share, then their seat share could go up to 122. With 5% vote share, the seat share could go up to 139. So if the vote share were to go up, say, between 4 to 6%, then the Congress could end up somewhere in the 120s, 130s range. That is just the way the data was towards the end of April. Remember, 10th of May is polling, and there still could be a last-minute twist. To what extent, we don't know, but this is what the data suggests in terms of, for every vote share that the Congress gains, where could the Congress possibly end up in terms of seats. Conversely, let's look at if the BJP were to lose some votes. Remember, they had 36% of the votes. If they lost, say, 1% of the vote, from 104, they could come down to 103. If they lose 2% votes, the BJP could be at 91. If the BJP were to lose 3% of the votes, they could end up at 81. If the BJP were to lose 4% of the vote they had last time, they could end up at around 74. So this table essentially gives you a sense of the possible gains to the Congress and subsequent losses to the BJP if some of the trends picked up by CSDS actually carry out till the 10th of May. Sanjay Kumar, you want to come in and give us a sense of how what you've picked up in terms of votes and in terms of the mood in the state could possibly translate into vote share and seat share on counting day?
Rahul, the way you analyze that, 1% vote, 2% votes in favor of Congress would result into X number of seats. This one has to figure out, this is a three-way contest, Rahul. So how do we assume that 1% vote which is coming to Congress or 4% vote which Congress has gained, it is coming from which party?
Okay, that's a good question.
In this kind of an analysis.
No, I'll tell you what.
In your analysis,
those numbers
your
are
analysis.
Go on. First, you complete what you're saying.
So I am not sure whether you are assuming that this 4% vote which Congress is gaining is all coming from BJP, or it's coming from JDS, or it's coming from elsewhere. Okay. That needs to be explained, because it can't be as simple as that.
Sure, that's a good point. That's a very good point. And I want Sandeep Shastri to explain it, because those tables were actually computed by Dr. Sandeep Shastri, and that's a very good question, which would be, Professor Shastri, in the minds of voters as well, that let's assume the Congress were to gain 1, 2, 3, 4% vote share. How do you translate that vote share gain into seat share? Explain the logic and rationale behind your workings.
Right. Let me make a point here that this has nothing to do with the CSDS Lokniti survey. In discussion with the India Today data team, when more than 4 or 5 days ago, we were looking at what could the configurations be if 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5% loss was there, and keeping in mind the type of vote share the Congress had across the state, and the type of vote share the BJP has across the state, and in the context of the JDS presence in certain pockets. It was in that context with the data team that these numbers were looked at. And these numbers, and I'm again making this point very crystal clear, these numbers has nothing to do with the CSDS Lokniti survey, and these numbers were discussed with the data unit of the India Today team well before the survey actually was completed.
Just so that there is context to what's being said.
In a discussion, if there is...
Yeah, just so that there is context to what's being said. our data intelligence unit keeps doing different kinds of calculations about what could happen. This is part of that exercise. This isn't taken from that CSDS poll, but to put the poll in context, what we've done is run the number, which gives you a broad sense of how a vote share increase could potentially translate into a seat share change. But do you want to just explain to Sanjay Kumar's point, Professor Shastri, that even if the vote share of a particular party goes up by say 3 or 4%, how do you calculate where that vote share gain is coming from, at whose expense is that party gaining, because that would have an impact on the seat share calculations.
And in Karnataka, this is more important, Rahul, because you
past trends in Karnataka. This was done on the basis of where the Janata Dal looks to be strong now, where does the BJP, where is it in terms of northern Karnataka and old Mysore region, and where is the Congress's presence. And we also looked at other studies which have, I've also looked at other studies which came out, and with the data team when discussing this, it was in those contexts that these numbers were actually discussed.
So I want to come now in the last part of our broadcast to the Karnataka poll of polls, which will give you a sense of where things stand net at this moment. You've got Jan Ki Baat and Matrice saying that the BJP will end up as the #1 party. We've got C Voter and Lok Poll saying that the Congress would be the #1 party. C Voter closer to close to the finishing line for the Congress, but not a decisive victory. The likes of Lok Poll suggesting that this is actually a much bigger victory. So are we then, according to you, Sandeep Shastri, looking at a big decisive victory? Are we looking at a tight finish? What should those who are watching you at this moment really be thinking about?
Given the way Karnataka has voted in the past, and given the proclivities of the Congress and the BJP, while it seems that the Congress is ahead of the BJP, I wouldn't rule out any change happening in the next 5-6 days. And I would say it is a close race with a little advantage to the Congress. And I know Rajiv ji will not like me making this point. In the past, the Congress has often snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Thrice they have done it in the past in Karnataka. And therefore, that element of caution, that though ahead, it is a tight race.